One. Boom. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to discover how outdoor spaces can be transformed into works of art. We're going to learn about the latest trends, gain some valuable tips on our own landscaping endeavors. So let's get this show started. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
Look, a business can give you everything you want in life: prestige, wealth, freedom. It can also take everything away from you. This show is for those who are willing to take that risk. These are the real life stories of entrepreneurs. But before we start, I have one small favor to ask. Please leave a comment. It can be advice, critiques, tips, feedback, or share this with someone, because your engagement is the most valuable and most powerful form of social currency. So thank you, and welcome to another episode of Business Bros. All right, business bros. Today we're going to explore the magic of landscape design, turning outdoor spaces into living works of art. Our guest has a passion for landscape design, and it's truly infectious. He's a seasoned expert who takes ordinary environments and turns them into extraordinary outdoor paradises. So join us for a journey through the world of landscaping, where we're going to uncover the secrets, the trends, the creative brilliance of a true master at his craft. So let's welcome to the show, Mr. Steve Griggs. Ooh, looks like we got a little delay there, but that's all right. We'll get through it. Steve, thank you for coming on the program, man. Welcome to the show.
Quite the intro, bro. Quite the intro. Love it.
That's what we do.
You're bringing the energy. I love the energy.
That's the goal, man. The goal is to get you talking about what it is you do in the best light possible. So if I can set you up for success right at the beginning, that's what I'm going to do. So let's jump into this. Question number one is the most obvious one. You're here to promote something, to talk about what it is that you do for a living. So if you can explain it as simply as a fifth grader could understand it, what is it that you do?
Very simple. I design backyards for people who don't have a clue what to do with the backyard, right? They say, why do I want to go outside? It looks terrible. So my job is to be the guide, be the hero, to lead them to the backyard spaces. Ever since COVID, everybody wants to be outside, man. The demand for outdoor spaces is off the charts.
It is, man. I'm literally going through the whole process myself here in San Diego. Been tied up in the permit aspect because I'm adding an ADU as well. But once we're done here, we're going to have that nice, beautiful space outside. Love to entertain, love to do stuff like that. And I know that this market, there's ups and downs in construction markets, in the backdoor renovations. There's also different price points. Who's your target audience? Who are you going after? Who's the backyard that this is the one that you want to work on?
A lot of people have moved out of New York City. They moved up to the suburbs. I'm located in New York, about 30 miles north of New York City. A lot of the people have moved out of the city up to the suburbs, and they've lived in an apartment all their life, and they have these homes. They don't know what to do with them, right? My best clients are like the ones that are busy business owners who don't have the time nor the wherewithal to get the job done. They just want to basically get someone they can trust, do a great job, and hand it off.
That's the perfect client. That's exactly what we'd like to look for. Because let's be honest, man, I get it. You could probably grab a shovel and break your back doing that stuff, but just because you can doesn't mean you should. You're always going to have to look for a professional that has that skill set. So let me dive into your background a little bit, Steve. Tell me, like, you've been at this game for quite some time. How'd you get into it?
40 years I've been at it. 40 years is a long time. 40 years. I graduated from SUNY Cobleskill, a horticulture school, in 1978. Now in 1980, then I went to Mississippi State, got my landscape degree. Then I started working for another pool company, and then I broke out on my own when I was 25. I've been doing it ever since.
20?
Thousands of jobs I've done, thousands, man. like you with the podcast.
Yeah,
more than your 1,300 episodes, more landscapes. How's that?
And that does a lot for you, right? Like, this is the credibility that people are looking for. They want to hire somebody that they know is going to show up and do the job, A, first and foremost, and B, do the quality work that needs to be done in that backyard. So what's that process like when people come in and reach out to you? They're like, hey, dude, I need help in my backyard. What can they expect? What's that process like?
So give it the short version. It all starts with the design, right? You need to come up with a good design. A good design is basically a graphical representation of what we're trying to achieve. Your vision, not mine. So together, I have the tips and tricks and try to put certain elements into the backyard that you like. But at the end of the day, it's really your backyard. I try to make it a signature piece for your backyard to represent your family, create memories, and build something that doesn't need a lot of maintenance, just for my own personal stuff. I don't like to do maintenance around the house. So you want to use good quality material. Do it. My motto, we have a book we had written. The motto in the book is do it once and do it right. Like, don't do this once and do it right. You don't want to be redoing the whole patio every year to save you a couple of bucks. Not worth it.
Oh, I totally agree. I learned that early on. My dad always taught me. He's like, he come in? He's like, did you clean your room? And I'm like, yeah. And then he goes under the bed and pulls everything out from under the bed. And he's like, okay, now do it right this time. Right. So like, do it right the first time. You don't have to do it over and over again.
Do it right.
Quality products, quality service. Walk me through some of the trends that are going on right now. I know things change all the time, but at the end of the day, a backyard is green for the most part, unless you start adding some concrete. What's the trending stuff that you see right now in backyard design?
So just to go back to the process a little bit, a lot of people don't understand the backyard, but they understand the inside of the house a little bit. They understand interior design a little bit more than the outside. So when I try to make them visualize the outside, I try to say, picture it as an outdoor room. We have the floor, which it could be a patio or grass. We have the walls, which could be a fence or some tall trees. And then we have a canopy over the tree, which represents your ceiling in your house, right? Could be a pergola, an overhanging tree. And then you want to talk about lighting. You want to light it up, just like in your living room, right? Furniture, you want to be able to sit. Some of the trends are like, by far in the Northeast, everybody's got a fire pit, outdoor kitchen, pergolas. We're trying to, so in the Northeast, the season's very short. You have 3 months of summer, unlike you in San Diego, where every day's a sunny day. Here, they take advantage of the short seasons. They want to extend the season, so we use outdoor heaters to try to get you outside in the fall. So you basically can go all year round pretty much.
That backyard area, because I know, I mean, you're right. I'm on the West Coast, so we get a lot of sun, and we do complain a little bit about the cold. But I'm assuming in the Northeast, you guys have more like enclosed areas that you have when you design some of these backyards, so that you can utilize them year round, or is it just like still kind of exterior but with warming areas?
You kind of you don't want to close it in. You really want to be outside, smell the fresh air on the fall night. You know, the good thing in New York is the seasons do change, right? So you have spring, cool nights, summer, hot nights, fall, the leaves start to change color. So everything is constantly changing. So that's a benefit in its own way, right? But yeah, you want to be outside. You want to try to create outdoor. You don't want to have to build an outdoor room. Then we're talking about basically a sunroom, right?
That does make a big difference. What about like water features? Do you guys get a lot of that up in the East? Like I know over here, maybe down in Florida, you see some of these extravagant pools as part of their backyards. Is that something you guys do? I'm not sure. I mean, because that could be like a geographical thing, right?
No, we do swimming pools, backyard waterfalls, anything to do with the outside, right? So people love this, something captivating about the sound of water, right? Even if it's just a trickling little fountain, right? The sound of the water, staring at a fire. I always try to either put fire or water into every one of my designs because it creates a conversation piece. It's like hanging around the kitchen, right? It gives you an area since the caveman days, they've been sitting around the fireplace. Nothing better than sitting around the fire pit with your buddy smoking a cigar, man, and watching the ball game on the outdoor TV. I mean, that's it.
No, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. I mean, anytime we go camping or anytime we have a fire pit, you almost don't even need the TV. There's no action really going on in the fire, yet we're consumed by it as it consumes wood or whatever it is that's burning. The fireplace is definitely a focal point. What about, you mentioned the TV, right? And so let me ask you, because I know there's a lot of people out there that want that outdoor TV. But I'm sure with the weather that you have specific things that you have to do to make sure you have something out there that will withstand those different types of environments. What kind of heads up can you give us with putting something like TVs or speakers on the outside to enjoy that backyard?
Nowadays, they have outdoor speakers that can stay out 12 months out of the year. Going to give you a little tip on the TV. No need to spend 10 grand on an outdoor TV. Buy yourself one at Best Buy. They work great now. Samsung makes a nice TV, and then basically for a cover, you can go on Amazon, you buy a TV cover, and you just cover it up. When it's January and February, when there's snow on the ground, you're not sitting outside watching TV. So you unscrew the screws, take it off, put it away, and then in the springtime, pop it back on. It's a good
Easy
investment, the
peasy.
TV. Yeah, easy peasy for sure.
Oh man. Dude. All right. Well, let me ask you about, you've been at this for 40 years and I know there's entrepreneurs out there that are probably just getting started right now. You got 40 years of experience in this space. That's a lot of education. That's a lot of yards. That's a lot of experience. And there's people that are getting started early on right now. Maybe it's just mowing lawns. Maybe it's, working on some small stuff. What advice would you give to a new company coming on the market that wants to get good at this and really grow their company?
Listen, I've only learned from beating my head against the rock too, right? Like I've learned, I've done everything wrong as well, right? If you're just new starting out, one of the biggest tips I usually tell folks is just, if you want to build your reputation and get other jobs without going crazy and advertising and all that, just do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. Treat them fair. Don't try to get a home run on every job. And I can guarantee you that will lead to other jobs, because that's what bailed me out in 2008 when the recession hit. That was it. That was the whole thing. I was able to go back to my Rolodex and call on clients that weren't going to spend $200,000 on the backyard, but they wanted to spend $3 or $4 grand. But that kept me going. Just by doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, a good referral is worth its weight in gold for sure. That is free tip. 40 years, you don't have to beat your head against the rock.
What about scaling, man? Because at the end of the day, yeah, your business has your name on it, and when you're young and sprout, like getting out there and doing the work yourself is part of what you do. But eventually, your body starts to get that wear and tear. You want to build a business that you can kind of step away from and become more of that CEO, upper division type individual, giving you your freedom back to do the things you want to do. Any advice on moving out of the doing the work, working in the business and working on the business?
Absolutely. So, I grew up in a household where my father was a union construction worker in New York City, right? So I remember him coming home at night, dragging his ass, tired. And for some reason, I grew up thinking that if I didn't come home tired, beat up, I didn't put in a good day, right? I didn't earn my keep. I always thought that you had to just outwork everybody, right? But being on podcasts like this and other podcasts and the internet, which wasn't around, I've learned that you like you say, work on the business, not in the business. So I've removed myself from the day to day, but it's more of delegation and managing the expectations of the clients in your team. That's changed. That's been the game changer also.
Managing people is not the easiest thing to do, though. Like people say it, but actually doing it, completely different ball game, because you're willing to put in the work. You saw your dad come home tired. It's your business. You're willing to put in that kind of work because you're willing to do what it takes to succeed. But employees doesn't always work that way. They're going to work maybe 60-70% of the same amount that you're going to do. They're not always going to listen to or do exactly what the way you were going to do a particular project. Any hints on managing people?
Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts. Bring them to treat the guys like people. Like they're not your slaves. Like treat them like family. Take them out. Treat them right. Jump in the hole, as I like to call it sometimes, where you actually pick up the shovel or jump on the machine, show them that you still got it at 64 years old, and you get mad respect, right? Don't show up on the job barking orders. Don't do it. But I'm able to bark the orders because I demand the respect, because I've been doing it for so long. Like if they're doing something wrong, I'll call them right out on it, only because I know what it's supposed to be like. You're not going to pull the wool over my eyes because I've just been at it for so long.
It makes a big difference when you are part of it, when you are willing to jump in the hole, like you said, and get that work done. But you also get the satisfaction when the work is complete. When you look back, when you look at a project and it looks like something that may be interesting to you, may be cool, but then you come up with a design, a concept, then you get to work, it gets completed. You look back and you're like, wow, this is what I completed. Any jobs that stick out in your mind like that you just look back and you're like, this is one of my favorite jobs I did?
Yeah, that's funny you say that, because it's like some days when you come home and you're just beat up, and you have to remember that if it was easy, everybody would do it, right? If it was easy, everybody would do it. There is a sense of satisfaction when you're done with the project. It's kind of like a team effort. When you go into somebody's backyard and it's just a blank canvas and you can create your vision, and the clients come out and say, wow. If they don't come out and say, wow, I don't think I did a good job, right? A story that sticks out of my head, we built a pool up on a mountain recently. A very hard job. It was solid rock. The guy was 45 years old, never learned how to swim, didn't know how to swim. And then we built the pool. And at the end of the summer, he said, yeah, come outside. Dove wants to show you something. And he was able to swim back and forth across the pool. They said that was the best. That made me feel good. They got like 7 kids. They're all using it. That gives you joy, actually,
Yeah, because they're actually using it. I mean, he's got kids, so that's probably the reason why he wanted to put the pool in, knowing that he couldn't swim. But now that he had to figure out how to get it done. Look, there are different landscapers that people can go to. There are a bunch of people who do what it is that you do, but there's a reason they come to you. There's a reason why they referred you. There's a reason why they kept you going back in 2008 when the economy was bad. What is it that you feel you do best? Why do they come to you?
Trust. That they trust me. Like I have the altitude because I've been to school for it. I've done it so long. I'm confident in what I do. The difference between cocky and confident. I know I can execute the job on time and on budget. Now, when you go in with that type of attitude to a client, you have to, you have to go in there. You can't go in there and say, I think I can do it. I may be able to make the date. You need to go in there and say, I'm going to make this job on time, on budget, no excuses. And I learned that from working with my father in the city when I was home from college for the winters, because in New York City, there's no excuses. When you're building a high-rise building in New York City, like there's no, I'm sick, I can't come to work, I got delayed. Like there's no excuses. You have to meet the deadline to get the job done. And I think I've carried that into my own career as well.
That's some scary pressure to put on yourself. I mean, at the end of the day, it is your reputation on the line. So you definitely want to get that done. But planning things out, there's always going to be hiccups that come across. What are some of the mistakes that you feel you've made early on in your career, or maybe recently, I don't know, that really had a lasting impression on you, that you took into your business? You're like, okay, look, this happened. We're going to fix it. And it's now just part of your daily process. It's part of what makes your organization better.
So they say, when, make lemonades out of lemon or something. 2 years ago, we had a major storm. And we built a retaining wall above a tennis court, brand new. And the storm fell, knocked down the wall, man. Thank God nobody got hurt. Knocked down the wall, flooded his backyard, put mud in his pool. And I just said, I called him up. I said, there's been a problem here. Nobody got hurt. You may want to stay away for a couple of days and I will get it done. Right. So we drained the pool, cleaned the pool, got a tanker truck, filled the pool up, and I just took care of it. And I think that kind of confidence, that if you run into a problem, you need to address it head on and just pick up the phone, let your client know what's happening, that you have it covered. They need to have that confidence in you, that that they have your back, that you have their back and they have yours, and that's helped as well.
So let me ask you, that situation, for example, it was a crappy situation. You damaged, not you, but the wall coming down damaged that person's property. You came full front and said, look, hey, don't come back for a while. We got something to fix, blah, blah, blah. What ended up with the relationship with that person? What happened, once you admit to something going on and you're the person who goes in and fix it and you actually fix it? What happens with that relationship? What does that customer think?
So at the end of the day, insurance and all that, at the end of the day, it cost me $100,000 out of my pocket, right? But your reputation is on the line. I mean, I've gotten 4 jobs since that. I think sometimes when everything goes well and smooth, anybody can do that. Anybody can do that. Like you don't need insurance until you need insurance, and you don't have everybody's friends until you're not friends, right? Until something happens. It's the guy that can step up in business and in life and execute on that issue and see how you come out of it, right? Like it's a football game. You're down by 3 touchdowns. How do you come back and win the game? That's really, I don't know. There's no other way. What am I going to tell you? Sorry? What am I going to, sorry? Like I'm going to end up in court and what am I going to tell you? Like, So that's really, I've actually used that example a lot, and it's actually helped me because it's, you basically flipped it on its head, right? You turned something into a negative to a huge positive.
And you said something right now that to me makes a big, like, almost financial impact, and it kind of makes logic out of this illogical situation, right? You ended up spending $100,000 out of your pocket to fix this. But had you ignored it, you could have probably spent $100,000 in defense attorneys and fees
Thank
to
you.
get it all fixed, right? Like, you still would have come out of pocket. At least in this case, you solved the problem, the client is happy, and you got referrals out of it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to really justify it when it's happening, but that's a perspective that, again, career-wise, 40 years down the road, these are the little bits of information that make a big difference in somebody who's listening, thinking about, hey, I know I have a problem. What should I do about it? Face it head on, right? I mean, that's exactly what you did. I mean, you think you would have spent like at least $100,000 on litigation if you wouldn't have just ignored it?
Absolutely. I mean, it would have cost you 100. Your insurance company would have dropped you. You would have had a bad experience with the client. But let me tell you, the day we went out there and I saw that, man, it was just a pit in my stomach, right? Like, oh shit.
Oh, yeah. Well, it doesn't take away the feeling. I mean, shit happens and it still hurts. It still sucks, but you fix it, right? And you make lemon out of lemonades, like you said.
But I don't mind those. I don't mind those, right? So I don't mind like an issue. What annoys me is like the little stuff, right? The guys don't show up, the little stuff. But the big problem, you got to just put your pants on and get it done.
Yeah, yeah. Let me ask you, building this business, did you intend to have like an exit strategy? Like, did you intend to have a way to exit this business at some point, sell it down the road, pass it on to an heir? Like, what is the exit strategy here? Or is it just like, I'm going to do this till the day I die?
I have two sons. One's 25, one's 19. And, they see how I come home and I'm tired. Listen, let me get something straight here. Being an entrepreneur and being a boss is not what you Google on the internet. It's lonely. It's freaking hard work. And it's not for everybody, period. Like, I could have joined the union with my father, been a construction worker in this city and got my pension and all that. I didn't want to live someone else's dream, right? I figured if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down swinging on my own, right? I mean, what I do is like, I'm more compared to an artist in the backyard, right? Like, when I do a project, they want to see me. So the exit strategy may be a little different than building up an agency or something like that. So the exit strategy, it is what it is. We take some of the money, we invest it in real estate and build up that portfolio of that. So eventually that will be the retirement for the passive income for the later years.
All right, fair enough. At least there's a plan, right? And I asked that question mainly because I think most entrepreneurs don't have a plan when they first get started. Their intention is just, I have a skill set. I'm going to go do this on my own because I'm tired of working for that guy. Right. And oftentimes after doing it for 40 years, you learn a thing or two. You're like, yeah, I got tired of doing it for that guy, but now I'm working 10 times as hard for myself, for this guy. And I'm a worse boss to myself than that guy ever was to me in the first place.
Don't open a business because if it's not set up properly, you don't charge the right margins. If you have to charge enough that if something goes wrong, you can go back and fix it. Otherwise, you just created yourself a job.
100%, 100%. That's not what you got into business in the first place for anyways. All right, Steve, let me ask you last question here. If people want to reach out, they want to find out more about the backyard services you offer, maybe see some pictures of stuff, how can they do that?
Just go, SteveGriggsDesign.com is the website. I mean, I'm new to this old Instagram stuff, but at Steve Griggs Design is the Instagram. That seems to be the go-to place for people nowadays. I mean, any questions, I'm there. I mean, I'm not selling you anything. I'm not here. I'm just here to offer some advice for 40 years and trying to, do what I do. That's it.
And that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, look, when you've been at this for 30 plus years doing what you do, you have a client base that keeps referring you. It means you're doing something right. So if you're looking for a backyard done, you're in the Northeast, go to the website, SteveGriggsDesign.com, SteveGriggsDesign.com. He's here to help you turn that backyard into the backyard of your dreams. Steve,
we travel too. We travel. I've been in Sacramento, Sacramento, Massachusetts, Georgia. Like, starting to expand the wings a little bit, because the design principles and the business principles are all the same no matter where you go. Just the elements and the plants may change, but it's all the same.
All right. So you heard it there. You want a quality person? They're willing to travel. Makes a big difference. I'm here in San Diego.
We'll come to San Diego. Beautiful weather.
Right. You don't mind working in San Diego, especially in the winter over there.
That's what I hear. No, that's what I hear. Very nice San Diego.
All right, Steve. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. SteveGriggsDesign.com is the website. That's all we got for you guys today. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace out.
It's over. Go home. Is your business in need of marketing? Try starting a podcast. But not just any podcast. Podcast like a... It's over. Go home. Is your business in need of marketing? System is not working for the outro. But not that'll do. Podcast. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end this one here. I don't know what's up with our tech, your business from being today, but it's becoming a brand people trust. Go to www.businessbros.biz to get started today. Business Bros.